Hello, folks. Welcome to day 2. Katie Fox, are you ready for this?
I'm so ready for this. This might be my favorite day. We were saying it's downhill from here. This is the day for me.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I've been really passionate. This is what I actually have been speaking on, so there's some slides in there from some speaking gigs. I've also added some new things that I've never shared with the world before that I think is going to be really cool for video creators. I was kind of teasing a little bit of it to Katie as we started, because it's been like the holy grail of things that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now we can do it. So I'm excited to share that with you. It is very possible. Yeah. So this will be fun. And once again, if you go to jeffc.com/worksheet, that's where you can get the notes for today's show. We've got that ready for you. There's like 2 sections for today. Yesterday's is still there as well. So you can just scroll down to the bottom and it will be there. So and also, ask your questions. At the end, we're going to try to take some questions. We are also going to do, if you kind of join this and you don't day 2, what happened? I missed day 1. Well, you can get the replays by going to the link that I'm sure they're going to throw in the comments, where you can sign up to get the replays. You'll be able to access a Zoom recording that we'll be able to do together. And you'll be able to access a Zoom recording. We'll demo some stuff, answer your questions. Katie, is there anything else I've been
away? So if you are hanging out with us and you want to win, and I will say, huge apologies to everyone. I initially set it up as North America only because I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I went in and I edited it and changed it so all of our international friends can rejoice and go back and enter. We're giving away a lot of really awesome stuff. So there are some absolutely incredible books. There are some courses from some truly amazing creators. There is a whole kit of swag from our friends at Agorapulse. There's just amazing stuff. So if you want to win, Paul will drop the link for the giveaway into the comments. And at the very end of this episode, we will share another secret word end of this recording. So you have to be here live to get it, and you'll be able to get those bonus points. But if you're watching later, you can still enter the giveaway at any point. This will run until next week, early next week. So yeah, good luck to everyone.
Yeah, so we got 2 more days of this, so this is going to be fun. Today, we are talking about AI image generation, which is very, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just go right to our screen share. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and Katie and I will be jumping back and forth, talking together about some of the stuff that we're using. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So ask your questions. Katie will bring them up when we have a place to pause, but we appreciate you guys watching. So let's just jump right in, because today we're talking about how to create smarter, not harder, by using some of these AI tools. And this is really for video-centric people. I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what's kind of happening in the AI image space, and then we're going to dive into some things that are really specific for you video creators, like YouTubers or live streamers or whatever you're doing, even presentations, some ways to create some really cool graphics now and assets for your video creations that you're putting together. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to explore the how to be efficient with creativity and give you some of those tools and workflows to scale your content without burning out, because we do not want to have burnout with anything that we do. And yesterday, don't forget, we talked about a little bit. We talked about, you can go to jeffc.com/worksheet, because we talked about yesterday how to get that content flywheel up and running, capturing some ideas, some ways to do that, and really some tools to keep you from never starting from scratch. You never want to start with a blank page, and some ways to curate content as we go. So today we're talking about AI graphics by adding those to your workflow. So we're going to talk about how AI's impact, how it works on social media, kind of some current trends. We're going to talk about some of our favorite AI tools, some visual improv framework. This is something that I've come up with that I've been speaking about that I really like, because it's not really tool specific. It kind of gives you an overview, so it doesn't matter really what tool you're using, but gives you some tips and tricks to make the best AI images that way. And then we'll do some practical demos and Q&A at the end. So let's jump right off the bat here and talk about this AI revolution. This has been, unless you've been completely disconnected from the internet, or maybe you just plugged in your Commodore 64 and found this new fangled space called the internet, you've probably seen a lot in your feed about AI, but it's the fastest rollout I've ever seen. It is really an arms race when it comes to AI tools. They're coming out with new features and tools almost weekly. I've been trying to dive into this Google banana, what is nano banana, whatever it is, some fruit.
You're obsessed with this nano banana.
Nano banana is so I just like
over.
to say it. It's coming up, and there's some cool stuff going. So it's just really, really moving really, really fast. And some of the trends that are going on in content creation, there's a bunch of shifts that's on how content is produced. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the tools I use using AI for editing, and that has changed the entire way I do things. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. But we're going to talk about the trends that kind of affect creators right now and separate kind of the hype and what really works for creators that I have found. One of the things we're going to talk about really quickly is you've seen these AI influencers and synthetic personas, which are these fake people out there. There's one called Tinsley. I don't know if you've seen this. It's the Tinsley. It's on TikTok. Tinsley like Bama Rush, and it fooled a lot of people because there's all this girls trying to get in Rush, and she's crying in one of the videos. It's all fake. The lady came on and said, "Hey, this was an experiment. I wanted to see if this would work." And a lot of people caught on, but a lot of people didn't. So it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's fake out there. But this raises some questions about our transparency, the authenticity that we're doing in our messaging, and a lot of times you'll miss that human connection. So I'll talk about why I don't like it in a bit. So the other thing that's happening is like major studios like Netflix and Disney are incorporating Runway, which is a video platform, AI video platform, in their pipelines. They're using it now to actually create movies and content on their streaming platform. So not as a gimmick, but as serious production tools. And they're actually using it, which I think is the right way, which is kind of augmenting human creativity behind it. It's really funny to me, like we're talking about Midjourney today, and Disney, if you've seen the news, sued Midjourney, but they're using the tools in their production. So it's kind of funny. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But the other thing I want to talk about is like, as a creative team member, using it as a inside of your content strategy. We kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday. We're going to talk beyond ChatGPT, some specialized AI tools, and then like the human AI collaboration when we talk about this visual improv that we'll go in a bit. The other thing is it's kind of the new standard. Like AI tools now really, help with blog posts, marketing copy, scripts, and storyboards. I use Gamma to help me create these slides today. Social media content and captions, and the visual assets and animations, which we'll dive in deep today. So it's actually beyond demographics. It lets you personalize at scale. It gives you, I can go in and look at my audiences. Katie had a great post today on Facebook where you were talking about, Katie, how you were actually dumped some Facebook stats or something in there, and you were like trying to find some info behind that.
Yeah,
so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, you had said yesterday during the workshop, which just reminded me of it, that you were taking, some of your more detailed like reporting and stuff that you're getting from, from algorithms and from analytics and all the different tools in social media, and you were dumping that into an AI tool to be able to just get like the actual real world, like, what do I do with this information? Well, we use Agorapulse at Ecamm to schedule all of our social posts as you're doing, and also to get all of our reporting. And so it was monthly reporting time here at Ecamm. So I took my social report that Agorapulse provides for me that shows like across platform how we're doing. So, what does our content look like across Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, et cetera. So I literally just took the PDF. I gave the screenshot to everyone. I dropped it into ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, here's my monthly report. Can you go through this and highlight some insights as well as some things that we could do differently or better? And it broke it down, and I didn't show all of it in the screenshot, but it gave me, a pretty thorough, like, one page, maybe 5 bullets that was like, this is working, this isn't, but little tips for each section. So it was like, hey, looks like your engagement is way up on this platform. To keep this going forward, double down on this. Hey, it looks like, on Facebook, it's not as strong as it could be. Here's a couple things that you could change and tweak. So it was really nice to see that some of the things that we had made a change were working, but it was also just really great to get that snapshot. And I could just literally copy and paste that, put that into a report, so that my team, who doesn't care as much about like the nitty gritty details as maybe I do, could just get a snapshot and a big picture of, what we're doing and what we plan on doing next, which of the tips that we're going to take and actually implement, and what is that going to look like next month as we take a look at that again. So I love that you said that, because it's been one of those things that I've done kind of like ad hoc here and there, but the timing was perfect because I was working on my reporting anyway. So I was like, oh, great. And Agorapulse literally gives you a PDF with like so much data in it that I was like, great, I'll just, I'll populate that in and be able to use it. So, so big win. So definitely something that's worth saving. Again, using AI to save time and be able to kind of take that information. And it's not like we're going to do everything in it. So like, don't feel like you need to take it exactly as it is and not make tweaks, but you can ask those follow-up questions and you can kind of use that to dive deeper so that you don't have to spend all of the time reviewing every single number and being like, okay, 56% increase here. Great. 98% decrease here. Okay. Like, what is it that we're doing?
So I was able to actually take it for like, Facebook ads is notorious with their reports of like, what are you talking about? Like, I have no idea what those numbers mean. And actually dropping it in and say, tell me what this means and explain it like I was a third grader, right? And it does a really great job. And I see a lot of people in the chat saying, yes, I do the same kind of thing. I help it break down terms that I may not know. So yeah, that's a great way. Those are great use cases for.
I want to answer Michael's question really quickly here, because this is a really good one. So Michael asks, do we need to know any specific skills in order to use these AI tools? And that's largely what we're going to cover today. But in this particular instance that we're talking about, no, it was not a prompt. It was not some line of code I had to add in. I literally dragged a PDF in and was like, here is a lot of data that I've collected.
Right.
Please tell me what this means. And like Jeff said, tell me as if I'm a third grader, tell me as if I'm a child, explain as if I have no idea. Right. You just need to think through your questions and what you actually want to get out of it. And the more that you do that and the more information that you give, the more these tools learn more about you and learn more about what you're doing. And they just get better and better the more you train them. But you don't need to be AI certified. You don't need to be a marketing pro or have a huge background in it. You just need to understand what the tool does and how to get it to a place where it's giving you the best possible answer. So again, you're not copying and pasting everything and just taking it verbatim. You need to be a little thoughtful. But
And on the images side, I'm going to give you guys some kind of a framework. I'll give you some to be very specific, but I think a lot of the value for AI is what is not said, where you kind of can explore and do some things with that. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, those are great examples of custom experiences, how to use it, and also how you can personalize it and boost that engagement, like even Katie was saying with her report. The human AI collaboration thing is we'll talk a lot more about this, is how it serves as a creative partner. It's now somebody you can bounce ideas off of and get, even if you have a blog post and you want hey, I want to take this in a different direction, it can help you do that with, idea generation, brainstorming. That's how I use it a lot. You can also use it to refine things, accelerating that research and data analysis like we just talked about, and doing the first drafts. I love just dumping my thoughts into it and help me put this in a coherent form, or what am I missing? I love to do that with first draft. So, but for me, human creativity and oversight, that's going to be more and more important as AI slop comes out. Using it as a tool to enhance your creativity, enhance the quality of your output, and not just hitting that easy button, which so many people are going to do. How can you stand out in the feed? And that's what we're going to talk about today with creating some of these images. The other thing is that I really like to do is this multimodal content creation. And this is really cool, especially for ChatGPT, because now you can generate images, videos, music, graphics to support your marketing campaigns and social content. So we're going to talk about visual content. I'm going to show you how to use some video assets like B-roll that you can use generated with AI that can enhance your output, and also audio elements, which to me is very, very exciting as a podcaster and also as a live show producer. There's some cool things that I've always wanted to do that I've never been able to do before, but I can now with AI. Also, you can scale things. Somebody asked yesterday, how many people on your team help you do this? And I'm like, well, just me and my daughter really now. Before it was just me. So you can do a lot of these things now that it frees up your time to be more creative and do other things. We'll talk about it, things that I don't like to do, like show notes on my podcast. I can do that really quickly with AI, and that frees up time for other things that I want to do. So, and it also helps me keep the consistency of the quality of output that I want across all these different platforms. So
yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. Sorry, were you going to say something? I didn't.
No, it's just, okay. Yep, absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk about what's working right now for creators in this space. One of the things that I think it's really good to do is this: how to scale yourself. Social posts and captions, using that to help you write the first draft. Same thing with the blog and article creation. I mentioned show notes that I hate, but also giving transcripts for people who may be, suffer from hearing loss. The Guy Kawasaki actually uses a real-time AI translator when he's interviewing guests because he suffers from hearing loss. He can't hear very well. I think he has one at least cochlear earplant, and so he's able to use AI to help him do that as well. So I like to use AI for things that I don't like to do to let me have more time to do things that I really find fun and exciting. One of the things too is we talked about this, crunching the raw numbers. We've kind of beat this dead horse, but use it for things that you've never used it before because you just didn't understand it. Download those CSV files, upload them to ChatGPT and say, hey, help me make sense of this. Like, what is it trying to tell me? What are the biggest takeaways? You can talk to it in really natural language and find out what those statistics really mean for your business and how it can help you grow in that way. Enhancing content. This is what I'm all about, like creating B-roll, using images to create those B-rolls. And a lot of people think you have to create like AI video for your B-roll. A lot of times you can just do a static image and do a slow zoom in or a pan, and that's enough that you can do for B-roll. So you can do that as well. Don't think you always have to create a video AI asset. Audio enhancement. We'll talk about this a lot tomorrow when we're going through Descript, but how it can clean up like bad audio, fix that echoey room, things that we really have to tweak before as audio engineers. We don't have to do that as much anymore because we can actually use some of these AI tools to really help some of these problems. Visual elements like transitions, lower thirds, graphic elements. We're going to talk about those today. I'll show you some tools and ways to get that done for you with AI. So what's not working? I don't think AI and clones and avatars, like I see the AI influencers using these and they're impressive, but just like YouTube, like started limiting those faceless videos that were just cranking out that AI slop, not allowing monetization. I think that's going to keep going up in the future. That we're not going to be able to game the system, and also that uncanny valley effect. I mean, it's really cool, those AI avatars from HeyGen, and they're getting better and better. But here's the thing: like, if you are trying to build a community and you're representing yourself with an avatar and not telling people that, then when they finally notice or you make a mistake or it says something wrong, you have just lost all the trust, especially when you're building community. So I'm all about AI in enhancing your content and enhancing what you're putting out there. But those fake AI avatars, I think they do more harm than good right now. And even in the future, I think it's going to be tough. I don't know about you, Katie, about because you're big in community building and brand building. I think it's cool, and there may be some use cases for it on certain things, but I just don't know about having a fake talking head that you represent as Katie Fox. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think one of the things that I really like about it is that it can save all of the time, as you were saying, in all of the things we don't want to do. I don't want it to take away the humanity and the connection point that I have with the community that I'm building. Like, I in many ways, I think it's actually going to result in formats like live video becoming more and more popular, right? We kind of saw like the rise of live video, and then it sort of like, teetered out a little bit and then was on the decline. And now I think with a lot of this, people are going to want to actually spend time with you and know it's you, right? So something like live video is going to become, I think, a lot more impactful because there's a realism to it, right? Like they can ask you questions they know you're going to answer in the chat. They know that it's actually you spending time with them, because it is really easy to get faked out by some of these different tools that are out there. So I agree. And it, like, to be candid, like it also can be wrong. Like I use ChatGPT a lot, more and more every single day. And the other day I was trying to get better with like my kind of quote unquote like thought leadership posts on LinkedIn. I was like, I want to be better at this. I want to be more consistent with this. Like, here ChatGPT is what I'm thinking. Here are some examples of other people's posts that I really like, that, I want to kind of embody this kind of style. I was like, but I want it to feel very me. And it came back with a whole bunch of suggestions. And one of the things that it said was like, one of the things about me that it had learned about me is that I'm a pilot and that I love flying and adventures and whatever else, which is not
That's your husband, right?
100% wrong, because my husband is a
Right.
pilot and I am often a like quote unquote co-pilot along for all kinds of adventures. But I had to like literally correct and say like, hey AI, that's actually my husband. Like I don't have that skill set. I have no interest in learning to get my pilot's license.
Mm-hmm.
And I then submitted back to the tool a full bio of all of my information. Like here is me as I want it to be reflected, and it then saved that information. And then what came out of that conversation were some great ideas for posts that I could do going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I did take some of them, tweak it, make it my own, and go for it. But at no point did I copy and paste. And throughout that entire process, it was as you were saying, like a content partner, an advocate, a sounding board. I was going back and forth. But like, again, it can still make mistakes. It was close. It saw all of the content that was out there, but it can definitely make mistakes. So, and you want it to be, hopefully, if you're trying to build a community, you want people to know you and and your mission and what you're trying to build. So add your voice in it, even if it's not perfect. You can take the quote unquote perfect content that it's creating and then infuse you back into it before you send it out. So
agree.
I love that you're doing it on that. I love that you're playing with AI and not afraid of it and not afraid to kind of get really creative with it, but it's definitely not taking you out of the equation. Like you know, what you're doing with it still feels very Jeff to me, still feels very Creator News Live to me. So
so a lot of people are trying to do it. It's like I don't have to get in front of the camera. Well, I totally agree with you.
It's not going to replace that.
I totally agree with you. Like, I think it's going to boost live. Like, AI can't go and like, hey, Lori Brown says, hey, Valerie, nice to see you. Like, AI is not going to be able to bring up comments like that and talk to, at least not for a while, to do that. So I really think, this live video is really, really cool. So I'm all aboard with you and like enhancing your creativity with AI, not trying to replace it or click that easy button that so many people want to do. So let's continue. So that's what I kind of think of when I talk about what's not working. But I want to explore these essential AI platforms that can really help creators' workflows right now. A couple of them that I really like are ChatGPT, Magi, and Claude. So ChatGPT, if it's one thing that people are going to have, that they're going to pay for a subscription, ChatGPT is probably the one that a lot of people are doing. And there's a lot of cool image things that we're going to talk about today that you can use if you've already got an account. Magi, if you're wanting to get deeper into AI, I really like it because you're able to have access to multiple models, both with the chat and also image. And we'll talk a little bit more about later. And Claude is another great one. In fact, I used to go back and forth quite a bit inside of Magi with Claude to see which output I liked better. Right now Claude is doing really, really well with coding and complex instructions. So it's an arms race. So, and we'll talk about that some more. But one of the things I want you guys to do is start keeping what I call like a prompt reservoir, where you store all of your prompts that are working. Magi has something that's built in that you can keep in there. I have like a clipboard or like just a notes thing that I copy and paste ones that I think that work for me. I have ones that I use actually for my Friday show that helps me write the same style of paragraph that I use for my intros every time. So things like that can speed up the process, but I have a place where I can always go. It's kind of a reservoir where I can pull those prompts out if I need them. And I kind of have them organized by content type that I can find really, really easy. And those will change over time as prompting changes, gets better, and different things happen. And that's why you need to have a space where you can keep them all. But that's one thing I use all the time.
What do the prompts look like for people that the word prompt is scary?
Yeah, so
what are they?
I will show you specific ones that you could actually. Awesome. And by the way, I know Paul has the link to all the slides, so we're going to burn through these really, really quickly. And so if you don't get something, make sure you get those links in the chat, because that way you can get the slides and you can browse to your heart's content. But the ones that, like the visual thumbnail creation tools, kind of the big ones are Canva. Canva Magic has some cool stuff in there, especially for removing backgrounds. It's getting better all the time. A lot of people already use Canva, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Midjourney is my favorite. All the images that you see in our slide deck is created with that. I really like using Midjourney just because of the styles and all the variety that I can get. Firefly is great, especially if you're worried about, making sure it's all above board. They do a lot of stuff at Adobe to make sure that they're paying creators and doing all the different stuff. Our pal Phil is big, and his YouTube channel is full of great stuff about Adobe Firefly, but it's another great one. And if you have a subscription to any of the Adobe products, you get a lot of access with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of do it a different way. We talked about like prompting. Most people approach AI image generation, I think, completely backwards. They're trying to control like every detail when they need to like collaborate with AI. And I'll show you some examples of this. So what does this look like when you're trying to collaborate with AI? So it's kind of a new approach. It's because, life doesn't go as planned. And so sometimes our thought processes don't either. So I like to build on what I get from AI in ways that I never thought about. I don't try to control every detail, and we're going to learn how to improvise with AI. So here's an example of how it looks like. So we've all seen this trope before, right? Like this.
She's so happy.
It's called woman a laughing alone with salad. Like this is just
that's me every day, right there.
Like if I have to eat a salad, I'm in a bad mood from the get go, right? So like give me a cheeseburger. But this is kind of a standard stock photo. But what if we took it to the next level and instead the salad fights back, right? So like she's getting smacked in stock photo. It to the next level and like she's getting smacked in the face by salad. So try to do things that stand out in the feed. Here's another one that's very, very what on here? Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Oh, too far.
Now you know it's live.
Yeah, now you know. This is why, folks. All right,
it's not
so
robust.
There she is.
There we go.
So this is one. It's a very bad image. It's a horrible image of networking. We've seen this as for every stock library has something like it, and it's horrible. But what if we took it to the next level and actually had people networking together on a circuit board, and we can level up all of our images this way with a little touch of creativity. We can use the same concepts but make them a lot more engaging. And I know what you're saying, Jeff, AI is moving at ludicrous speed. That is very true. How in the world can we possibly keep up? Because it is an arms race right now. We've got so many different tools that are constantly trying to be the one tool that everybody uses. We got, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Microsoft Copilot. This is actually an infographic that was made inside of ChatGPT. But today I'm going to try to give you something a little bit more valuable, a framework that works kind of no matter what AI tool that you're using. And a couple years ago, and Katie's a big fan of this conference, so I was at Lou Mangello's conference, and I did something that seemed really impossible at the time. I presented an entire slide deck using nothing but original images that I created with AI. People really, really liked it. They weren't just
fun.
Yeah, it was. They were like, "How are you doing this visual branding?" So it was really, really fun to put that together. And it was every time before I had always tried to take the concepts and looking at stock photo libraries, and you're trying to stuff an image that kind of works but maybe not. And it was really refreshing as a presenter to have custom slides with the visuals that I wanted exactly every time. So that's what really got me hooked and excited about AI. But there are some problems. So let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say this slightly deformed 8-legged elephant that kind of showcases. Yeah, that kind of showcases how AI can go off the rails sometimes, and it does. But everyone's talking about how AI image generation, it's like a technical problem. Just write better prompts, they say. But I've created thousands of pieces of AI images for my clients and my own brand, and I realized something. We're thinking about it kind of all wrong. The real problems aren't technical; they're creative. And this is from the founder of Magi, Dustin. He's a good friend of mine. He says, image prompts require 3 things: subject, setting, and style. And without those 3 elements, you're taking shots in the dark. And everybody loves prompt formulas. I get it. Like I'm going to show you one right now. Most of us, though, usually don't know specifically what we're looking for. At least I don't a lot of times. And we really don't know where we're going when we create an image. But the cool thing is now, even if you throw an image inside ChatGPT and say, hey, help me write a prompt formula to make images like this, it will actually break it down for you. So this is a YouTuber's kind of formula that I took inside ChatGPT, and it gave me this. So this is a great one if you're wanting to get very detailed in your prompting, which sometimes makes sense. This is the one that I have used for most of the images you're going to see later on today. I kind of like this last line where I finish with kind of an emotional concept, and that helps me kind of dial in the images, especially if I'm trying to do a look and feel that I'm trying to portray with a certain image. So I really like this one. And once again, I'm going to go really fast. You guys can go back and get the slides. But this is kind of the breakdown of all those different parameters in that prompt, what it means, how it works, and how it kind of goes that way. And here's an example image and the actual prompt that goes with it. And this is right from, if you're getting any of those freebies that I have, this is from the ChatGPT library that I have as the freebie for this course. And this is what it came up with when I did it. So you can do some really cool stuff with prompting if you know specifically of what you want. But most of the time you don't have an idea. And if you're going in cold, it can feel like you're shooting in the dark. And speaking of shots in the dark, this is what my friend Mike Alton says. He says, don't feel constrained by a single model. Try your prompt in several different models to see what you get, right? So this points to something that I really think about. Flexibility and also adaptability are key in the AI image generation space. And this is why I always tell people not to lock themselves into a yearly plan for AI tools. I love Midjourney, love it, but I'm paying month to month because who knows what's coming around the corner. I don't want to get locked into an annual plan.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're always wanting to do that. So it looks like a fantastic deal, but it's moving so fast. I just don't want to be locked in. So stick with like a higher monthly fee just to keep your options open. But that being said, Magi, I love it. It does so many different image generations you can play with in there. You can go and try all the different models like Claude, ChatGPT, some new ones that are coming out. Dustin does a really good job of adding them as they come out, as they open the API. So yeah, I really like this. If you're wanting to level up your kind of AI tool set, but you don't know where to go, this is a great one. And if you use that code there, you get 30% off for, I think, 3 months. And he's really great. I mean, his Facebook community is on fire as well. But if you don't know where to start, and you have ChatGPT, this is a great GPT that you can use, especially for creating consistent characters. And this is a guy by the name of Glibetry. That's such a weird name, but he's got a YouTube channel, really cool stuff. And it actually can help you create the prompts you need when you're trying to come up with an image that you don't really know where to go. It really helps you do that. It also gives you Midjourney prompts that you can switch over to that platform as well. And here's kind of the output that it has. So this is for me to create a character prompt and have a photo collage of a 50-year-old man with a beard. And I've used this for my designs for quite a while. So
I love how detailed this is. I think sometimes we forget how much information you need to give, and then kind of the follow-up to be able to maybe there's also a first round, similar to how you'd be working with a real life designer, right? It's oh, okay, yeah, this is close, but actually what I was looking for had more of this mood, or you can go back and forth with these tools in that way. The other day I was so for my movie podcast, I was trying to get a 8-bit graphic version of the movie poster Titanic, right? So, but you get there's all kinds of copyright violations and whatever else I was trying to stay away from. So I was like, I would like an 8-bit movie poster that has a woman and a man on a ship. And there's an iceberg in the background. I would love to use my brand colors purple. It was this giant description, right? And of course, the image it provided even said Titanic at the bottom. So they were just it feels like you're leaning this way.
Yeah.
But it took a paragraph of text that was as specific as I possibly could be, because the first couple were horrible and looked nothing like what I wanted. So don't be afraid of being really, really wordy. Really, really
and I'll show you. So for that example, I have an 8-bit kind of prompt in my prompting guide that's in there, so you can go look at that one. But we're going to also help you with that long prompt. There's a way you can do it a little bit different that we'll get to in just a second.
Hey,
but
awesome. I love it.
So first of all, I want to talk about some of the the problems that we have with these, even with fundamentals in place, even if we have a prompting guide, most people kind of fall into the same creative traps. So let me kind of show you the three biggest barriers, or the three doors that feel like they're shut in your face when it comes to becoming creative with AI images. The first one is what I like to call the clone crisis, or what I call the AI echo chamber, right? When everyone's social media graphics look exactly the same. Do you remember when Canva first came out? You could go in the feed, there's a Canva template. Oh, there's another. Oh, there's another one. So it's kind of repeating itself with AI. It's getting harder. You can usually tell right now, AI generated image, it's going to get harder in the future. But also, you don't want to be doing the same thing that everybody else is. Standing out in the feed, we'll be talking a lot about that today, how we can do that. And I always tell my kids and my clients, when you see all this stuff out in the feed, be careful when following the masses because sometimes the M is silent. I'll let that sink in for a little bit for all you people out there.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and it's getting even more with AI image creation. Like everyone's using the same default settings and hitting that easy button instead of developing their own voice. But another problem that it's getting better, but you'll still see it, is the digital mutations where you have the 6-fingered hands, the soul-stealing eyes, and atomically impossible limbs that make our creations look like they escaped from a digital lab experiment gone wrong. So, like, how do we fix that? We'll talk about that, how you can fix those problems. They don't come up as much, but still every once in a while you'll have them happen, and we'll talk to you about how to fix those. And the last one is kind of the creative dead end. And a lot of us get here as creators. That frustrating moment when you've got something decent, but then you're stuck in kind of a creative cul-de-sac with no idea how to get out of it, or, how to fix that problem in that image that you can't get rid of. So I kind of spent months wrestling with these challenges because I just kind of dove into this AI stuff. And I've got everything from advanced prompting techniques to expensive courses. I've tried them all. But here's what I've kind of come up with, and it's really funny where I got it from. The solution came from an unexpected place. My TV screen. I love watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? I used to do, way back in the day, some improv, and I love these guys. I love how creative they are. But there are rules to it. So that's when it kind of hit me. The best AI artists, they're not thinking like programmers. They're thinking like performers. And they're kind of treating AI like an unpredictable creative partner instead of a vending machine. And that's what had me kind of come up with this visual improv idea that kind of turns it's a framework that turns these common AI headaches into kind of these creative opportunities. So here are the rules of visual improv. Rule number 1, and this comes straight from the stage. In improv comedy, you never say no. You say yes and. So if somebody says, hey, we're astronauts on Mars, you don't say, no, we're in a coffee shop, because that kills it. Like, that just kills it. You go, yes, and our oxygen is running out, and you build on the scene. We want to do the same thing, use that same idea with AI. We want to work with it, not against it. Do you guys remember these? These were on everybody's feed, right? As soon as ChatGPT's new image thing out, everybody was making their own action figures. And a lot of people, though, were just saying, make me an action figure. And they were just posting it in their feed. So what if we use the yes and philosophy, improv rule number 1, on that? Instead of just saying, make me as an action figure, what if we said, make me an action figure, yes, and in the style of the old Star Wars Kenner box. And like, yes, and let's make the box look well used and worn. And this is what it came out with. So, a funny story, Katie, when I did this, I got the same thing. It was like, hey, you can't use Star Wars. And I'm like, ugh. And you can't use Kenner. I'm like, oh, it's against our copyright policies. And I said, okay, make it in the style of a 1972 retro space opera. And then bingo.
Perfect,
it
right?
made it. I mean, if you notice, even at the top, it even actually has the, like, where the hole is, so it will balance because the guy is heavier. It's just, I just thought it was really, yeah,
oh
it's
my
just
gosh,
really,
I
really
didn't
cool.
even notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it looks just like the old Kenner ones, so I thought that was really cool. And my friend, actually, Dustin Stout, the creator of Magi, he did a yes and said, what if it's video, right? So this is what he did. He actually made it move. Like, he put it into, I think it was playing, and made it like an actual moving thing. So that's the idea of going yes and, right? Like, how could we make it stand out in the feed? Another way, and this goes back to let me turn this off, to your point, Katie, about that long prompt. And one of the best ways to use yes and is with this thing called prompt chaining. So instead of overwhelming the AI with your prompt, it's actually probably you that's getting overwhelmed, but sometimes it's easier and boosts your creativity to add details and steps. So, for example, here's one that I came up with, a mysterious teaser image for a new product using a dark silhouette style with dramatic lighting, and then a bunch of other stuff to kind of flesh out the scene, right? So it's a mysterious teaser product for a new product, right? This is what it came up with, which is very cool. It's generic, but just seeing that image made me go, yes, and I kind of came up with this new prompt. I said, well, yes, and make this item that is seen in silhouette a flower arrangement that a florist might tease for an upcoming product. And it came out with this, which I thought, holy cow, that's really cool. Taking it to the next level. I could use this if I was trying to do like, hey, we're coming soon. We've got this new product. So doing that and having your AI improv buddy do it for you and suggest things is a really great way to do that. Another great thing, another example of the prompt chaining is like, okay, create a model of our new product, a running sneaker, entirely out of Lego bricks, right? So the Lego sneaker should be about the size of a shoe in the image, but it's built with bricks in our brand colors. So that's white base, red stripe, and black details, and then some more details as well. And voila, there it is, exactly like I asked. I thought, oh, that's really, really cool. But let's do the yes and to this. And so now, yes and, but now show the sneaker in a playful scene. For example, put the Lego shoe in a miniature Lego display in a Lego store setting, and bam, it even has the new arrival, and it comes up that way by using the yes and doing some prompt chaining. The other cool thing, yeah, I love Legos, so I like messing around with that kind of stuff, and it does such a good job with it. But you also don't have to use like really detailed language in the prompt changing. Sometimes you can use natural language. So from some of my character creations, I was wanting an email where I was talking about I just had watched the new Industrial Light and Magic documentary on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
And I was going to talk about that in my email because there's a lot of creative people in that, yada yada. And I said, hey, I want an image that I can put in the email, and it did it, but it was too old-fashioned for me, right? Like I wanted it not to, I mean, it's cool, but I wanted it to look not so old-fashioned. So inside of just the prompt, inside the chain in ChatGPT, I said, hey, can you just make it a little bit more cartoon-like, right? And boom, this is exactly what I asked for, and I was able to send that out in an email. So just by doing natural language inside of it, you can do some really, really cool things. So any questions on visual improv rule 1, Katie?
Yeah, let me just scroll through. There were a couple questions further back. Oh, okay. So We the Others NPO asks, I haven't used ChatGPT, but we have Copilot through our nonprofit account. Do you have any opinion on one over the other, pros and cons of each?
I haven't played a ton with Copilot. A lot of people use it, and like if you're in a business setting, it's kind of an add-on. I just like ChatGPT because of the multimodal aspect of that, which means that you can have all these, like I can do images, I can put in a bunch of different stuff, and it can read it. I can do text. I can talk with it like I'm a designer over at Soldier. So I sold over at Shoulder, but I don't have a lot of. I don't know exactly what model it's using, so I couldn't tell you exactly. But if it works and it works for your workflow, keep using it. Like especially if you get it paid for as a nonprofit. So I don't know how many credits you get or anything like that, but yeah, definitely. So very, very cool.
And then a couple of questions that are similar. So both Steve and Carl ask some version of where do you store your prompts, and are you using Notion to keep track of all of this? How are you keeping all your stuff together?
So Notion's great. In fact, if the freebies that I have for this workshop, 2 of those, the Midjourney one and then the ChatGPT one, are built in Notion. So I do keep a lot of stuff over there. I also just have a notebook where I just drop things, like I'll see things, or I'm like, hey, a lot of the lift for me when I first got started, it was like, I don't even know what style I like, right? Like I don't know what it's called, but you can do research and you can drop in images and say, describe this style to me. Like, is a great example, like the Jetsons.
That's a really smart idea. That goes a long way. It's like, it's this I like.
Right. And so you can find out, like for me, I was like, I want a background like the Jetsons. If you remember the Jetsons cartoon, it was that modern style. And I'm like, what? And I dropped it in and it said it's called Googie, not Google. It's Googie architecture. And that's kind of even like the 1960s style. And so now, knowing what it's called, I can say, hey, make this logo or this image in the Googie style architecture. And now I can figure it out. But that only came from dragging stuff in and asking it, hey, what is this style called? Which is really great for nerds like me who have no idea what things are called. So,
yeah. And I will say, so one of the prizes in our giveaway pack is a book by Phil Palin, and we've done a few, both Jeff and I have done a few different interviews with him and talked with him about how he approaches AI tools. And one of his like big tips is that he just often will just give an AI tool a whole bunch of information of stuff that he likes, and and he actually just forces it not even to reply. It's just like, hey, I like this stuff. Please take this stuff. I'm building up all of the information that you need in order to ask you questions about this later or do this later. And a lot of these tools, like ChatGPT is a good one, have, the ability to save things in folders. So if you're working on like multiple shows or, different things that have a different style or, different voice, different people, etc., you can start having it retain information in kind of a collection or a folder as well.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think it's a really good approach.
And in a couple more sections, I'll talk about how to create your own style, and I'll show you some examples of ways you can do that. So let's get back into it. I love my Star Wars character, but let's go into visual improv rule number 2. So the second rule of visual improv is don't block, which means you don't shut down or block out your improv partner. So I kind of take it to mean an AI generation is it means you don't block the AI's ideas. Sometimes they're actually better than your original idea. So one of my, I love how Bob Ross used to turn mistakes into those happy little accidents. Well, just like AI is like Bob Ross after 3 espressos, right? So its accidents can be your creative caffeine. So, but only if you know how to work with them instead of against them. So this next example is a great example of how I use visual improv rule number 2, how I turn accidents into assets. So Social Media News Live, and it's still kind of confusing a little bit of our brand. We're moving it to Creator News Live. And I actually went into, this is actually ideogram or ideogram. And I was like, hey, make me some logos. I wanted to change my style. And it started to spit these out, which ideogram is great for doing text-based graphics. And so
these are cool.
All of a sudden at the bottom, it started putting the light bulb in the O of creator. And I'm like, ooh, I like that because that signals to me, okay, Edison, ideas, creators, like I liked how that was going. So it was very, very cool. So I continued to kind of ideate on it and it gave me some more. And I'm like, oh, this is really, really cool. But then I went into Midjourney when they started getting their text to be a little better. And I came up with this, like, ooh, that's cool. I love the neon. I want to have the light bulb be in the O like I was doing before. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, I rendered out a light bulb kind of in the same style. And I said, hey, can you add that light bulb to the O in Creator? And it didn't work. It did this mess. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. ChatGPT,
almost
not there, right? Not good. So what I did is I took it into Canva and I just put it as a layer on top, right? And I'm like, it's not blending the way I want. So this time I uploaded that image of where I had them just stacked on top of each other. And I said, hey, I want it to look like this, but I want the light bulb to be inside of the O and blend together better. And by giving it that reference image, it was able to come up with this, which is perfect. What I wanted to. It's got the lighting right. It's inside the O. It's got all the shading. But that only happened because I didn't block what the AI was doing. I was really thinking about rule number 2 is like, okay, where is it trying to take me? How can I help it understand what I'm trying to do? And it came up with a logo that I like and we're going to start using. So very, very cool. Visual improv rule number 3 is, this is the last one I'm going to share with you today, is that you need to commit 100%. What it means that with AI images that you want to find your signature style and then go all in on that style. Use something you like, something that you love, something that you know you'll have fun creating. And for us, that was really these retro style images. Like we like doing it. I love the style. I love that, see Jane run kind of, those storybooks. I really like those. And the thing now with AI tools, finding and creating your own unique style by combining styles is really easy now. And you can actually have infinite creative options. So does this look familiar to anybody, right? Like this is Social Media Examiner's artwork. I used to do a lot of stuff with them back in the day. And Mike Stelzner, who is the CEO, he does a really great job of having a unique signature style with his illustrations and his color palette. So that got me thinking. So like, what if I took this style and try to make it my own? So the cool thing now with AI is you can attach images as image references. You can do this both in Midjourney and even ChatGPT to give it kind of a starting point. So what if instead of having the girl standing there pointing at a mountain, I did something a little different? And I said, hey, what about Godzilla coming down from the mountain? And I used a style reference image on that, and I weighted it a little heavily. And so now I have that image in that style. And it came up with a bunch of them. So I was able to pick the ones I want because I added that style from that original image to the prompt that I was wanting to do. And the cool thing now, too, about this is what it looks like actually inside of Midjourney's interface. So you can actually dial it in a little bit more. You can see there at the bottom right, there's a zoom. You can rerun it. There's an editor you can go into, which I'll show you in a bit. But the cool thing inside of the editor is you can actually drag out the image and all this space around it. It's kind of like Adobe's generative fill. Is I can drag this out and it will actually give me multiple sizes of that graphic. If you wanted a banner image, you can see there's two different variations there. There's one with a bigger lake and a lot of people, and one that just has a girl. So it's very, very cool how you can use reference images now to help direct where you want these images to go. Inside of the editor as well, you can actually, and ChatGPT has this, Midjourney has this, and some of the others, it's called in-painting, where you can actually paint over sections of the image you want to change and then give it a new prompt. So instead of Godzilla coming down the mountain, I said, hey, how about King Kong coming down from the mountain? And it kept everything else in the image the same, and it just changed that section that I painted over. And it was a very, very simple prompt with that painting. I just said, hey, King Kong instead of Godzilla, and it did it. But the powerful thing with this is you can combine styles that you like. Now, I don't want you guys to all go copying Social Media Examiner's images, right? First, Social Media Examiner has a signature style really well. It's really well known, and people would know that you ripped it off. And second, we never want to copy. Like, we don't want to copy, but we want to use it to jumpstart our creativity or build on something new. So remember, visual improv is to commit 100%, and you want to be able to do that for your own style, not a copy of somebody else's. So one of the cool things is you can combine styles and come up with something uniquely your own. So I took some of the images that I have from my retro mood board. I took Mike's Social Media Examiner image, and then a couple pictures I found of like crocheted images that I thought was really cool. And inside of Midjourney, all I did was add those as style references to the prompt of a mountain scene of a group of hikers looking at a mountain with Godzilla walking down the mountain. Notice I put mountain in there a lot because I want to make sure that was in the image. So I ran that, and this is one of the images that I got, which I thought was very, very cool.
So fun.
Yeah, I knew you'd like it because of the crochet. Yeah, I know.
Upset.
I don't know why there's a crocheted bear on the end. I guess he's looking at Godzilla too. But I just thought it was a very, very cool way to combine images and come up with a new style all of your own. The other cool thing about Midjourney is you can use style reference codes. So this is like a movie still, and I found a style reference code, which is a series of numbers that will apply a style to any time you use that code in it. So you can see there on the side, it says SREF and a 215808, da-da-da-da. That's the style reference code that I'm applying to that image. And the cool thing is, like, here's the final prompt that you can see. You can see down at the bottom, it's got the style reference code. It's got that SW means style weight, and you can adjust how much that style you want applied to your image. And so this is of a 1980s movie still frame of a man exiting the jungle with a machete. And I did the same thing, the same exact prompt, but with a different style reference code, and it actually made it in an anime style because of that different SREF code. The cool thing about that is you can also, kind of like what we did with the Godzilla image, you can have multiple style reference codes, just like you could do style images codes. And so all those things you can combine to make it your own. You can have multiple things. You're not limited to just one. So that's the power of making these styles your own by combining them into new ways. You can also, in Midjourney, you can like different images, and it will build the image that you want based off things that you like, which Katie and I talked about earlier. But you can also create mood boards. Like if you're a big Pinterest lover, you can actually create mood boards in Midjourney and then apply those boards to the style you want to create. And you can also combine those. So I could have a Pixar style with a retro style and create stuff that way. So lots of different options to come up with your style. So don't just click the easy button. Take some time, discover your style, commit 100% with the visual improv rule number 3, and actually come up with your own signature style. And once again, we've done it ourselves. This is my personal example of going all in and committing 100%. We've gone all in on the retro style. And we've not only used rule number 3, which is commit 100%, we've also done yes and, because we decided, hey, we're going to try to make all our guests in the same style as well. Like, that was something that nobody else was doing. So how did we do it? Well, here is how. this is one example of how we use our real faces on our Creator News Live brand. And I really like this one because we were talking about 10 things we'd do if we started over. And this is totally a Groundhog's Day reference. And there's Connor and I, my co-host, and there's an Instagram graphic on the left and then the actual image on the right. So how do we do it? This is the original image. So we get the image in and get it as close to the final output as we can. We can use ChatGPT as a reference image, or we can do Midjourney, what's called an omni reference, and we get that image to look as close as possible to the guest or ourselves. And then I use this tool. I use Pixi.ai. Now, it is a paid tool, but we use it all the time. It's got a web interface, a Discord interface, or even a Photoshop plugin if you're wanting to do this. I'm working right now to see if Nano Banana will replace that. I haven't gotten very far with it, mainly because of the multi-face. A lot of times we'll have multiple faces in our images. But the web interface for this works really well. You have your image, you put the target image you want, and then you have swap. And we were able to do that. So there's the original image. And once again, there's Connor and I with a groundhog driving. This is one that Abby came up with. And also, if you remember the ludicrous speed slide we had earlier, if you notice Katie's there on the left, there's me in the middle, and then Doc Rock there on the right.
A young, svelte Doc Rock.
Yes, really young one.
I love it.
But I thought it was great. But here's the original image right here. So what we did is then I went in to the web interface of Pixi.ai, and I added, you see Katie there, myself, and Doc, and I just hit swap, and it made this final image, which I think is fun to do quite a bit. And we take this to the next level. We go yes and a lot when we're creating these images. This is my friend Cassie Tucker. I've had her on the show to talk about like LinkedIn stuff. She's a great marketer. She actually runs the official Universal Studios podcast, which you should check out, and her own show, The Marketing Happy Hour. And what I did to create from the kind of the promo for my show is I tried to get as many different images as I could of that looked similar to Cassie. And this gets better and better all the time, but this is the screenshot I took at the time. But this is also an example of visual improv number 2, so that was like, don't block, right? Because she was talking about LinkedIn, and I wanted her to talk about cracking the LinkedIn code. And I kept thinking about having her be a hacker or a cyberpunk kind of image, but I couldn't make it work. So after playing with it for a while and getting frustrated, I finally let the AI kind of have a little less prompting, and it came up with this. So very, very close to Cassie. And I thought, oh, that's cool. She's breaking in to LinkedIn. Okay. Yes. Yes. And what if she's actually breaking to LinkedIn? What can we do for that? And we came up with this for the YouTube thumbnail with Cassie's face swapped out. We actually also put like the LinkedIn logo on the vault, which I thought sold it really, really well. So I thought that was very, very cool. But we also said yes, and what if it was vertical and a video? And so this is what we were able to do in Kling. Now you're able to do it in Midjourney, but we were able to take that image and animate it for like a reel and a short and a promo thing, which I just thought worked really, really well. I was very excited about that one. So
it's so fun.
So
it's so important for people to hear and see that it's what it can unlock in your mind and the level of creativity that allows us all to have. So like, it's a process. I'm sure it takes time and effort to go back and forth, but we just have so much opportunity now to have this play time where we can say like, hey, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And, here's all the stuff that I like, and be able to actually get to play with all of it to get really cool outcomes. So I love it. Lots of brilliance and loves in the comment. And Steve is asking what app you use to make the video. You said that video is Midjourney as well, right?
So for video, if you want to take still images and make video out of it, you can do some in ChatGPT if you have an account and go over to whatever their video thing is. I can't remember now. It's built in. Anyway, it's Sora?
I think it's Sora.
Anyway, because their audio is Sona. What is their audio? Anyway. You can go in and use that. I used Kling.ai. That's a great one to take still images over. But anyway, you can go in and use that. I used for that one to take still images over. I'll use some stuff in a little bit that allows us to do that as well, which for me, I canceled my Kling subscription because Midjourney did this. So that's why I was saying like always like do a month-to-month thing because you never know what's going to come out that you can use later. So that's what I use to animate that image. Some more examples of that, kind of the yes and taking it to another level. So when we started doing this, these are our kind of our YouTube thumbnails that we were able to create. But we also went yes and what if we started making those animated as well. So for each of these images, I'm going to show you really quick. Kind of the here's one of me and Connor, which I thought was weird because his thing came up. I thought it was hilarious. So we were able to make them move, and we actually put these out on our emails about our show. And this has got a lot of people talking. They're like, "How are you doing that? That is so cool!" And they're tuning in because I'm only doing it on my newsletter because unfortunately you can't do that on YouTube thumbnails. They really, really like it. So this is another way to get you to stand out in the feed. So there's that one. Here is the one I did with Amanda, which came out really, really cool. And you can tell it, like, I'll tell it inside of Midjourney, say, hey, keep the words on the screen. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you have to play with it. This one, you can see it kind of goes over it, but didn't bother me for that one. This is the one we had Katie on, this mega versus micro networking tips we talked about. And I love how she kind of smiles and laughs after she drinks her coffee, because who doesn't smile?
Because who doesn't smile? Yeah, that's very me.
And then finally, this is one I did. It's a loop of books hitting me when we talked about when we were talking about Lean Learning, the book by Pat Flynn. So that's one. I used the face swap in there, and I also used Midjourney to create this video loop, which that is kind of, for me, the killer thing that Midjourney is doing right now for me in my workflow. So very, very cool. Really quickly, as we kind of wrap things, getting into some new tools, I want to talk about the features of the new ChatGPT image generator, because many people pay for ChatGPT, so you can use this image generator to work through all these rules of visual improv. So here's a profile photo of me, and all I have to do is tell ChatGPT, can you make this profile picture better? And voila, I thought it did a great job.
That was the problem right there.
It was just amazing. I think, my wife really liked how it worked for this one. But seriously, though, ChatGPT image model does have some really cool things that other generators don't have going with it for it right now. It can actually keep like 20 different aspects of your image, different like parameters intact. It has really great character consistency. You can make transparent layers with it. I'll show you some examples here in a minute. Text rendering, it's one of the best text renderings there are. It lets you upload and restyle like we showed a little bit. You can just talk over its shoulder like a designer and tell it what to do, and it will follow detailed directions. If you struggle, if things start breaking, the best thing is to download the last good image that you think it made and start a new chat thread, because it will remember things. Like I did a kind of a storyboard, and it was like I did it of me in the bathroom, and then I did another one where it was me in the office, and for some reason it took the toilet and put it in the office setting as well. So in those kind of situations, yeah, you need to start a new chat thread, and that's what people get frustrated. I'm like, just start a new one, and it works really, really well, because what it's doing is going back and looking at the conversation. Here's some fun images that I really liked. I liked Easy Bake Nuclear Oven. I thought was fun. You can do memes with it. Here's one. It's like, it's 4 a.m. Why is he like this? This is one of my favorites. I'm king of the world.
See, I could have used that in my episode.
See, exactly. And just the power of what it can do now. Like, I thought this image just showed off, like, AI was not able to do this like 6 months ago. Like having a cat look at its reflection and see a tiger. I just thought that was very, very cool. So here's kind of a breakdown of what I kind of think these tools. These are the three ones that I use a lot. ChatGPT. It's great. Multimodal flexibility. You can add all these different things in it. It's got a free tier that you can play with. Emotional visuals. It is so stinking slow. Like, it takes forever. It kills me.
It really does.
Because I'm used to Midjourney creating like 4 almost instantly fast. But it does really, really well on keeping characters consistent. I had somebody I talked at CX last week, and somebody was making them in the audience and was showing me for her illustrated children's book that she's able to keep these characters consistent and using it in that way. So it's very, very cool. Midjourney, it's my favorite. I love the artistic control. Love the new video features. There's no free access. It's a high price. Text rendering is not very good. It's getting better, but it still gives you gibberish a lot of the times. But it's really good for like professional art, design, brainstorming. Ideogram, This is where you want to go if you need to make quote graphics, any sort of text rendering, logos. You can also combine these. Like you saw, I did ideogram at the beginning, and then I took it into ChatGPT to fix the light bulb. So feel free to move these between each other and use the outputs and use the things that they're good at to kind of overcome some of the other one's shortcomings. And I mean, it's the best one for like text-based graphics, just hands down, in my opinion. All right, so AI this is kind of the thing that's brand new that I haven't showed anybody yet. So these are AI for video show elements. So you can generate lower thirds and graphics now. You can create loopable background videos. You can design intro and outro bumpers, social media assets, and B-roll that matches your brand style. So I kind of want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we're thinking about my new show. It's kind of the retro feeling, the kind of the atomic age that I'm kind of looking for. If you've seen Fantastic Four, I love that style. That's what made the movie for me. It's like, this is so freaking cool, just because of the style they had in there. So I said, hey, ChatGPT, create some blank lower thirds that can be used on a retro TV show. Think retro 60s, atomic age, type of graphics. Make sure that the background is transparent with no text on the lower third, and make sure that this image is created in the landscape aspect ratio. ChatGPT has a really hard time with aspect ratios. You pretty much get landscape, portrait, or square. And always say that in your prompt if you're trying to get something. If you forget, all of a sudden it'll start doing square images when you're wanting a profile one. So just remember to remind it every time when you're doing your prompting. And so it came up with this. And it's transparent. So that's a lower third that I can use. That's exactly what I wanted. But I wanted it a little bit wider. Like, this is cool, but once again, you can talk with it in that multimodal style. You can say, hey, in that same style, make that a lower third that will go all the way across the bottom of the screen, that I could put a title or a person's name on. It needs to go across most of the landscape aspect ratio with some margin on each side. And boom, there it is. And you can see that it's transparent. So I can drag and drop this right into Ecamm and have it, and I can put my text on top of it. So anything you create in ChatGPT that you want to have as a overlay, just tell it to make it transparent, and it will do it. So that is very, very cool for lower third graphics. Isn't that cool, Katie? That's
so
what I've
cool.
wanted forever, like, to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing about it is that, like, it's not only that it's expensive to have a designer doing these for you every single time, but also it's super time consuming. Like, we have an incredible designer who works with us all the time on all of our different projects, but I can't go to him every single moment and be like, okay, so I have this great idea for next week's episode, and I want like this different lower third down in the corner. So like being able to have that level of control when I don't have a graphic design background, and being able to kind of change things up and play and be really creative is just awesome. So it's, again, depending on, how many people you have on your team and what your budget is and what you're trying to accomplish, I just think it can be either like, your full sidekick, full team member. It can be additive to what you're already doing, and it can allow you to just really get a lot more creative and get exactly what you're looking for in a really fast amount of time, right? So it does a lot of different things, but yeah, that stuff is really, really cool. I love it.
So, and the other thing is like, I would take a logo and get it most of the way there, and then I would take it to a designer. Like, I mean, 'cause you want to be able to have it in black and white. You want to do some stuff. And so I still would not, it can get you to show you what you want from the designer. Like, hey, I want this. So I still think there's going to be a place for designers. I just think we can get to the final design quicker with some of these tools.
Yep.
So here's some other cool things that I just love to do. This is something I've been waiting to do for a long time. I had shown you guys before how. So I did Katie's.
It's Katie Fox. Hooray! She helps creators find their way.
Right here, and I want to go back to this. So that was the original. That's the song I ended up using for the thing, but I created it all inside of Sora. I believe is that what it's called? Now I can't even remember. Suno. Gosh, there's so many names.
They're all really similar. Yeah, this is Suno. Suno.
So I created that song in here, and then I went in and I used the animation. But the cool thing now is that wasn't the original song when I started. This is the kind of a variation of that song. I'll just play a little bit.
It's Katie Fox, hooray! She helps creators find their way. Come together, don't delay. It's Katie Fox today.
So
They're so catchy.
It is very catchy. And so one of the things that that is very, very cool about these is like getting them down to a manageable, because I wanted like intros and bumpers. I didn't want to have a full song. So that took a while to do. But the cool thing now is that you can make covers. So if you have a song you like that fits your style and your theme, you can create covers on it. So I did the same thing with Paul Gowder, who was on my show recently. And this is what that sounds like.
It's Paul Gowder, they say. He turns email into friends that stay. Builds your brand the inbox way. It's Paul Gowder today.
Everyone should have a theme song.
Right. So, I mean, people ask now, like, he came on one time and they were like, why do you not have Paul's theme song? Right. Like, I'm like, oh, I have to make him one. Now I have the process. I know I have the process down now. I can do it. And once again, here's another version of that same song, but I want you to listen to the end because it's got his, it kind of doubles the vocals. So
it's Paul Gowder, they say. He turns email into friends that stay. Builds your brand the inbox way. It's Paul Gowder today.
And also I wanted to have a really solid stop. And so that took a while to get. You have to go in and do some editing. But the cool thing is now that you have it, I can create more for my show, and I can just go into ChatGPT. I have it write the lyrics, and boom, there you go. The other thing, how did we do like the Katie Fox intro, right? So we also did another one that I'll show you guys really quickly. Here, let me go back to this screen. This is what we did for we're doing a segment in the show called Book Report, where Connor and I talk about the books that we read. And so I was able to make this little bumper for that really, really fast.
It's Connor and Jeff on the mic, bringing books to life that you just might like. Big ideas in a chapter or two. It's the Book Report, just for you.
So that was made. So the audio was in Sona. What did somebody told me? Suno. So many.
Suno.
Suno. I made the audio in Suno, and then I made all those different little clips inside of Midjourney, except for the last one. That last one was text-based, so I used ideogram for that, and that's the way I was doing it. And then all I did, so I'll go back to my slides, is I actually took all those pieces and I put it inside of, I use Premiere. You could use something else. You could use the script if you wanted to use that. And I just laid them out in the way I wanted with that audio, then rendered it out. Boom, I'm done. And then I have a nice little bumper I can use repeatedly, because if we have a recurring segment on our show about book reports, I can just play that again. So that kind of stuff right there has been like the thing I've been wanting to do as a, video guy, as an audio guy for so many years. And now I can create it all, and it's all custom. Like, nobody's going to have exactly the same thing that I have, which is very, very cool for me. And it's how you can stand on the feet.
It's worth calling out, too. So Steve is hanging out with us, and he says he went to Berklee College of Music in 1978 to learn how to make musical advertising jingles. Each one that you just played would have cost $5,000 to $10,000 to create with live musicians. So, the ability that we have now is crazy, and in how fast it is and how good it is, and it's getting better and better, and just how creative you can be with it is just amazing. A couple of questions I wanted to just quickly cover before we jump into the rest. So Steve asks, how much are you spending roughly per month on AI tools, Jeff?
A lot.
Do you have a ballpark? A lot.
That's my job. But so it's like my job. So Midjourney, I get that. Here's why I pay for Midjourney, because you can see all the stuff I'm able to create with it. We use it all the time. I do the $60 a month plan, which is pricey for most people. But the reason I use that plan is it lets me create stealth images. If you have a lower plan, people can see in the feed, they have a create feed, all the images you create. I want to have it because I'm making it for clients. It's worth it for me to have that plan. They have different tiers. I think they even have like a 10 and maybe a 20, maybe more than that. I'm not sure. But I use it all the time. It lets me stand out compared to everybody else. And so it helps me up my game. It's worth it for me. I mean, that's why I said, like, that's why I canceled Kling, because Midjourney started doing the images that I wanted. So
Yeah, you got to watch it these days. Like which of your tool, like I think your plan of paying for the monthly is really smart. And I've noticed even at Ecamm, like, you know, we'll have something and there's a lot of overlap between tools, and we're constantly evaluating like, oh, okay, like is this tool really like a one size fits all tool, so we should cancel the others, or are they doing slightly different things, and is that monthly cost worth it for us? So I mean, whether you're individual or you're, you know, a larger company, it's still worth keeping tabs on these and sort of seeing how often you're using it, and is it worth that cost? But because they're moving, as you were saying, so fast.
Yeah.
Rich asks, before we jump back in, have you noticed a difference in results using these platforms on their native sites versus Magi, like ChatGPT, Kling, Ideogram, etc.? Any better or worse quality?
I have not. It usually comes down to the prompting, because Dustin is actually going in and using the API, which is their official tie-in to that stuff. So I haven't noticed any difference. Usually if it's a difference, it's with the prompting, and that's usually my fault. So if it looks better, because I talk about this all the time. I love Magi, but I also have to use the other ones because I talk about this stuff all the time, and I have to show people who don't like the different things, because it's kind of what I do right now. So, but yeah, once again, Magi does not have Midjourney does not have an open API. That's the only bad thing about Magi. You can't use Midjourney inside of there. They've teased it. Dustin's talked about it, so I'm not sure where it's standing in the next couple months. I'm assuming that they will eventually open it. Midjourney just made a big announcement that they're partnering with Meta. So now you'll be able to use Midjourney inside of Meta to create some things, which will be kind of cool. Not sure how detailed you'll be able to do with that. So that is coming up. But Midjourney is my jam. That's what I like. And I have one more kind of killer app that use case that I've been wanting to do for years, and it just kind of came up next month. And for me, I've always wanted to be able to create use case for years. Month. Moving background images that loop in a way that I can put behind my show. If you watch my show, I got a blue one that kind of moves. A lot of Ecamm fam use moving backgrounds in there. So I went into
so you can drag it in.
Yeah. Yep. Now, so I made this in Midjourney. Midjourney now has a video aspect where you can actually animate. You can just have it do it yourself, or you can prompt it to make the motions. But the cool thing, you can click a button, it tells it to loop. And I've actually created this. I actually did it this morning, and this is the loop now from that graphic that I created. I just told it to animate. And so now I have a moving background in that style that I kind of like. So, and it's very subtle. You can actually increase the movement. This is just a really quick test. But oh my gosh, how cool is that? You can have looping video now for your backgrounds, of custom backgrounds for your live streaming or your videos. I think that is just amazing. And so that is one of the cool things. I only have a few more slides. Do you have any more questions, Katie, before I move on?
We're good.
So let me kind of wrap things up. So visual improv we talked about today. So yes, and work with the AI as a creative partner. You want to build on what it's telling you. You also don't want to block it. Like if it gives you some weird stuff, like, okay, what are you thinking there, AI buddy? Let's try some new things. Let's go down this road and see what happens. Love happy accidents. So many great things come from that. I need to turn that off.
Yeah, it was just, but there we go. Yeah. There we go.
So yes, and don't block. Number 3, commit 100%. You want to find your signature style. Combine styles. Find things you like. Get stuff that you're going to have, you'd be excited to create in the long term. And that way you can continue to be consistent and build that recognition. And that's kind of the way I think of AI tools right now. Some key takeaways: you want to focus on framework, not tools. You want to treat AI as a partner, develop that signature style, and enhance. Don't replace, don't copy. You want to make it so people will want to engage with you, not as a substitute for that human connection. So we talked about AI's current impact, essential AI tools, visual improv, and the practical implementation strategies. And with that, I'd love to know any questions you guys have, like if you have any specific AI tools, workflows, style development. If you have any of those questions and you're watching on the replay, make sure you sign up, because we'll talk about that on our Zoom call on Friday. So
yeah, it's a good time to remind everyone that we are doing a live Zoom Q&A and hot seat. So if you want to put yourself up there and have us go through everything, have Jeff kind of analyze what you're doing. We're happy to spend that time. You need to be registered. So you got to go to eCam.com/social growth. That'll register you for this workshop. Totally free. It just gives you access to some bonus content. There are a couple questions that came in here at the end. So Stephen asked, what prompts or parameters do you use for those motion backgrounds? So how did you prompt those? Or
so
where
you
are doing
can't,
them?
so inside of Midjourney, you can actually drag an image as a style, or you can actually have it be a starting frame and an ending frame. So you have to create an image first, or you can upload an image. Like that's how I did those thumbnails that you saw. You drag that in there, and there's a little button that says loop. I usually, when you're creating the initial background, sometimes it'll put people in. In Midjourney, you can do -- no, and then tell it what you don't want it to do. So I go a lot of times -- no people, because I want to have it. And also I'll use, in the original image prompt, I'll say, I want an abstract image. Because a lot of times, like when we talked about at the beginning, like networking, like how do you show networking other than that goofy guy shaking hands? So having some of the visual improv prompts where you can go in and say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. You tell me what that looks like. That has helped me a lot too.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Actually, this is a great question coming from Michael that I'd love to know as well. He's asking if you're using these videos that you're creating using AI on YouTube as part of a larger video, do you need to mark that as altered? Is that like an altered video in YouTube?
I think so. This is a good question. I think if I think for B-roll and stuff, no, I don't think it. I mean, matters.
Or for intros and things,
unless you're like putting yourself, in front of the White House, right? Like, and you're not there. Like location stuff, I would probably mark.
And you're saying that you are in front of the White House,
right? Yeah. And like, so I don't. If for the thumbnails and stuff, I don't mark it because the thumbnails are the people, like they're their faces. So, it's not me trying to do something weird with them. So. I know that, what was it? The new video that's coming out. I think it's the new Nano Banana actually has a watermark on it that they're putting a digital watermark. And so that's going to be more prevalent. I haven't seen it hurt reach. I usually mark it just so if there's a lot of AI stuff and I mark it, it doesn't hurt the views or anything. So if it's a lot, I would do it. That would be my thing. But if it's just B-roll and stuff, I don't think especially if it's not, you're not misrepresenting what you're doing, I think it's okay. Like to alter stuff, like with me with like riding a rocket, like one of the thumbnail that we had for today's show. Yeah, like I'm like, I think people know that's AI, and I don't think I need to mark it, but who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to. I mean, we are definitely going to all need to try as humans to be as like honest and real as we can be, because it's going to be interesting to navigate some of this coming along. This is a good time for Paul to drop the secret code. We're not going to say it out loud because it will evaporate and disappear at the end of the stream. But if you're playing along with our giveaway, the link and the secret code will be in the chat. And if you're coming to this later, you can still catch a couple more days of live secret codes. You have to be here live for it, but you can enter the giveaway regardless of whether you are here live or not. So another couple questions coming in. Rich is asking, is there a trick to making character references work? Hang on, just scroll by it. MJ, ChatGPT, Laura, etc. generate images of me that don't look like me, and then they don't stay consistent across multiple sessions. How are you doing it as a trick?
So what I do is I always put whenever I'm doing a prompt to create an image, I always use reference images. So whenever I create like even a cartoon of myself or whatever, I'll use like the AI I'll drag in, because you can do that in ChatGPT. I'll use that image of myself that I want to use, and I have that for every prompt. And even if I'm going down the chain, I continue to do that. Once again, if it starts going off the rails, start a new chat with the last great image, and that you can do it that way. ChatGPT right now is probably the best, the closest character reference you can use. Midjourney is coming up really, really quickly with their Omni reference, which I like a lot. In fact, this last image, I just used the Omni reference of myself in that, and it worked. So it does a really good job.
I love it. This is a good one too. George is asking, when you create music theme songs using Suno, do you own it? Can you freely use it on YouTube? What are the restrictions in and around that?
So as of right now, there's no restriction. I haven't gotten any flags from YouTube for any of the music that I put. You do, I think and I'd have to go. You have to go look at their pricing tier. Most of the time, they'll give you a couple credits free. I don't think those are protected. I think you have some protection or copyright, or you have like fair use to use it on the paid tiers. I know for Midjourney, that's another reason I pay for the expensive one, because there is some that you are protected a little bit. Like they say that you own the images that Midjourney does not, that kind of a thing. So that's why I see a lot of these models doing that, is that to pay, you get that extra, you have rights to use this in whatever ways you want. Commercial use, that's what I usually look at.
I love it. I use Doc created one for my show as well, and it is super fun because prior to that, I was using Epidemic Sound, which we use often at Ecamm, and I was paying for a subscription to that. But then that, runs the risk of other people using the same like quote unquote theme music for your show. It is nice to have a personalized one.
Yeah, I want to have it only for me. Like that's the whole thing, is like if I'm creating custom stuff, I want it to be custom for me. Valerie says you have to have a paid plan with Suno to be able to use it freely. So thank you for that, Valerie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like that's the end of the questions. Again, a huge thank you for the super chats coming in. This is so generous. As I said yesterday, we do definitely take all those super chats and we pay that forward. So always appreciate seeing that and thrilled that everyone is loving the workshop. Huge thanks, Jeff. I love that I get to sit here and I'm just like, as you're going through that, I'm just taking like copious notes behind the scenes of things I want to do better. I think for me, it's like really thinking through what's possible, and then also getting a lot more organized. Like I do a lot of this regularly, but I'm not great at being consistent with it across the board. So I think getting organized and really kind of building up those prompts and building up, that plan for exactly how you're going to use it is really important. So
and here's I was just going to say, one of the cool things is now, like I have a weekly show. I can create these assets every week. Like it's fast enough now that I can do that. Like now for some of the video stuff, if I'm in a time crunch, it might be hard, but I can create for every guest now their own custom intro music, which holy cow, how cool is that? Would it theme to my own branding? And like, for me, it just, that kind of stuff opens up the world to creativity, the fun stuff. Like I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, right? Like, and now I can do it, like have your own television show. Like, oh, come on. How cool is that? Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no more. Yeah, no excuses allowed in this space. But with all of these tools out there and so many different options and price points and all of it, really, you can do a lot for a very minimal investment in being able to, as you were saying, really build your own TV station, even multiple shows, an entire network of shows. But the fun continues. This is only Wednesday, so again, we have Thursday. We will be live at 11 o'clock Eastern on YouTube, and then Friday, two sessions. So there'll be the final live public for everyone, and then a invite only Zoom Q&A and hot seat session, and that you can only get access to if you sign up for free. And you can swing over to ecamm.com/social growth. That will get you signed up for that one. And all questions welcome. We're keeping tabs on replay questions and emails and things that come in. So definitely hit reply on those emails, leave those comments and questions below. Happy to make Jeff answer all of them.
And also don't forget, there's a worksheet for today's show as well. We're just continuing to tack on every day in jeffc.com/worksheet. It's just a Google Doc. Like there's no email sign up. There's no nothing. Just use jeffc.com/worksheet. You can make a copy of that. You can have it for yourself. You can download it, fill it in. You may want to wait till we get done with the entire thing so you have all of it at once before you print it out to write on it or whatever. But you're more than welcome to go there and pull that down as well. So thank you guys for all the great questions and for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Katie.
We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, Jeff. Bye, everyone.
Bye.